Hey guys, I wanted to take a minute to get my first impression on Elden Ring. I've currently put about 40 hours into the game. I'm level 38, 39. Been taking my time with it, exploring the land, trying to find new weapons, armor, uh, and going around finding the random bosses to fight. Uh, this is not my first Dark Souls game whatsoever, so I've had the experience with it. I know the frustrations from the combat and fighting the mobs, fighting bosses, and going through and learning them. Uh, I will say this feels easier than previous Dark Souls games, but the challenge is still there. Uh, I've always I've always been one that's enjoyed the frustration of learning the combat, learning the bosses, and at the same time, once I beat them, I've always you feel that satisfaction of defeating a difficult boss, difficult monster. Um, Hell, it's why I did raiding in MMOs for as long as I did, because getting in there and learning the fights, and then once you finally beat the bosses, you felt the first time, or maybe the first 5 times, whatever. You just felt a sense of accomplishment almost. Uh, with every one of these bosses in Elden Rings, and it's been like this with Dark Souls games too. When you go in the fights, you go in the first couple times, you're like, oh fucking shit, what the hell is this? And then as you progress, you learn, and yes, it's frustrating, but at the same time, you can feel yourself generally getting better unless you let the frustration get you. Elden Ring's no different. You definitely get that same feeling of frustration. Uh, you know, you take an hour, 2 hours, depending, actually, to figure out how to fight a monster, kill the bosses, whatever. Uh, the combat, it has been really good. I've tried multiple weapons. I've tried dual wielding shields. Shields I've messed around with, but I'm not a shield user. Like, that shit is for pussies. You want to parry, by all means. That's your thing. Make shit easier. Once again, that's just an extra timing thing. But personally, I'm one just to get in there, and dodging is just as great as parrying. You just don't get that extra, like, knock them and extra damage. But it's whatever. It's your play style. It's whatever works. Uh, Personally, I've been going through it dual wielding, which has been a hell of a treat, I guess you could say. Normally, I've always gone strength builds, but this time I decided to try a dex build and see how it went. Um, and it's definitely added a level of difficulty for me, I guess. Only because I'm not feeling that big dick damage whenever I can hit him with the two-hander. It's more chopping away slowly, but it's still satisfying. And it's super satisfying when you actually beat the monsters. Uh, Going in and trying to fight when you first started the game, when I first started out, when I tried to fight the first boss, I couldn't even land a hit on him. Or no, I landed one hit on him before he took my ass down. Only to come out of the cave, and there was the boss on the horse, who swiftly beat my ass once again. And this is where the satisfaction came in, because I immediately went and started grinding mobs to level up. I mean, that's what this game is about. It's just like all the other ones. You need to grind to level up. It's not going to hold your hand to be able to go through and kill boss like it's nothing. You need to work and level yourself up. I mean, and don't get me wrong, you've got those veterans that can go in and be like, watch me work. I'm level 3 and I'm taking out the bosses like it's nothing. Like, you have those guys. That's not the average player, though. The difficulty feels great. I don't think that needs to be changed whatsoever, except for Margaret. Margaret, it took me just under an hour to kill Margaret. Can't tell you how many times I died. I honestly kind of lost track. I went through every single weapon style I had. So it went maces, two-handed sword, one-handed sword, spear, and ironically, the one-handed sword was the last thing I tried, and I decided to do it for shits and giggles, and that's what worked the best to take him out. I was able to get the stab off, which ended up stunning him, and I could stab through him. I still didn't use the shield to parry because, well, fuck that shit. But it took me right under an hour to do it. I had talked to some friends who's also been playing, and it's taken them way longer than an hour to beat him. So I think I feel like the tuning with him is a little off, but he's still doable. It can be frustrating for the average player, but it is doable. Uh, as far as the rest of the gameplay and everything, you yes, you run into mobs that, if you're not careful, the way they attack will get you killed immediately, because you literally get in a stun lock position for yourself, and they just stab, and you die. Uh, that's happened to me. That's happened quite often. It's one of those things, get back on the horse, run back out, grab your stuff, and go at a different angle, which I like. Um, I've seen tons of messages on Twitter or YouTube, or Reddit, that has talked about this game. They need to have an easy mode for this game, or it's not accessible for everybody. And that, I feel, is incorrect. This game is accessible for anyone and everyone. The issue is you have to let yourself actually sit down for an hour and play. I've seen comments where people are like, I don't have time to be able to sit down and play for an hour. Well, play for 20 minutes then. It's one of those things, your skill will improve, and they've designed this game. They've always designed these games to that, without having a difficulty modifier. And I'm not saying don't play the game, but if that's not what you like, then the game's not going to be for you. I will say that right now. If you don't like to be challenged, the game is not for you. And I will say, you'll get frustrated. Everybody gets frustrated. I've never seen somebody play one of these games and not get frustrated. But the reward, if you spend 40 minutes, an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours even, fighting the same boss and not giving up, you get super frustrated. But once you kill that boss, you get that feeling of, fuck yes, suck my dick, asshole, I finally took you down. And it feels so good. And I've seen people say, you might not get that feeling or whatever. I've like I said, I've played other Souls games. I've always gotten that feeling. With this one, it's the same thing. Every time I go up against a boss, every time I've defeated a boss, and I've killed, I want to say, 11 or 12 bosses at this point, and every time I've felt satisfied. Like it's so satisfying. And this is, like I said, I'm dual wielding. 90% of the time I'm dual wielding the bosses, and it feels good. It every time I get frustrated, I get pissed. I think I've only stopped with one boss so far. It was a dragon in the cave that shoots out lava, and I was going at it. It was like 2 a.m, and I had been doing it for about an hour, and I was like, all right, I need to stop. I need to take a break. I need to go to bed. Other than that, I have sat and I've fought boss after boss after boss. And when I come across them, it feels good every time. You get that frustration. Oh my god, it's frustrating as fuck with some of them. But every time you beat them, it's so satisfying. You feel like it gives that feeling of almost accomplishment, because it's like you were able to overcome the challenge. And it's a good feeling. It's a really good feeling. But like I said, it's not a game that's going to be for everybody because of that difficulty. People, a lot of people nowadays, they don't want to. They want the easy route in games, and this is one of those games, and it always has been, that does not have an easy route. It's one that they build it for you to have to suffer through. But in going through the suffering, once you actually complete whatever you're trying to do, you feel a sense of accomplishment. And I mean, if a game can make you have that feeling because of the difficulty, and it can be done, like it's a good thing. Um, I will say today, I was fighting a mob that I ended it grabbed me up, put me in a cage inside it, and just there was nothing I could do. It just killed me. When I respawned in an entirely new zone, and took the wrong route in the zone. It spawned me. It spawned me into a dungeon, is what it did, and I went deeper into the dungeon, not realizing it was a dungeon, and hit one of the graces, and I am currently stuck in this dungeon. I can't teleport out. I actually dropped down into this labyrinth deeper in, so I can't even climb back out. And I am currently stuck because the only way out is going through and killing double bosses. One of them being the mob that picked me up and ate my ass. And I am beyond frustrated right now because I don't have an option. I can't get out. Like, it blocks you from teleporting to other graces when you're in a dungeon, and I'm going to have to probably sit here and grind 4 or 5 mobs over and over until I can get strong enough to be able to take these guys out, for basically. So I'm telling you that because of me dying and where it respawned me, that was a little bit of a bitch and kind of threw me off, because that's the first thing that I've come across when dying and respawning, is being respawned entirely across the map. I was literally in the swamp when I died, or going through the barracks in the swamp, and I am all the way up in molten lava now, which is insane. But like I said, that part's frustrating. I'm going to be irritated as hell. I know I am, but it's going to feel so fucking good. And I'm going to have it recorded, I'm sure. It's going to feel so fucking good when I actually get out there and can continue on. But other than that, like I said, the combat feels great. The combat is smooth. I mean, you have annoying parts, things that will happen when if and when you get overwhelmed by enemies. But it keeps you on your feet for having to think, and this is if you're melee. I have seen mages just go and just like blow through everything. But I'm not one of those people that can play mage. It's just how I am. It's always been a warrior, or some type of warrior, fighter, whatever. But yeah, overall the game just it feels good. The what else I mean, would I recommend it? I would recommend it to anybody that can handle getting frustrated. Anybody that wants a challenge. And I've seen people say, "Oh, this is bullshit challenge. This is artificial challenge. Blah 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 blah." I get it can be artificial in some capacity, but the thing is, it's still a challenge. The only thing when I think of artificial is being stuck in a 4x4 square map, having to fight one of these bosses and try, and it's got a wingspan of wall to wall, basically. That challenging is annoying and not good for the game, or I don't feel like it's always good for the game. Does it stop me from going on and playing it? Is it what's going to break me? Fuck no. I enjoy the game way too much. That is not something that's going to break me. You just overcome it and you keep going, because overall the game has that challenge that I enjoy and have always enjoyed, having a difficulty and learning to surpass it. it really tests your skill, because you have a skill ceiling, and this will definitely raise that skill ceiling or have you pass through it and you wouldn't even realize it. So uh, but yeah, right now that's where I'm at. Like I said, about 40 hours into the game, level 38. You know, taking my time, of trying my best to avoid fucking spoilers that are all over the place. But having a blast with it so far. And like I said, if you enjoy a challenge like that and want to and enjoy being challenged, I highly recommend this game. It does have multiplayer if you want to do it, which you know always makes makes games a lot more fun, I think, for the most part. And it's an optional thing. You don't have to use it. You can literally continue to challenge yourself by yourself in the game. But like I said, overall, will you get frustrated? Fuck yes, you'll get frustrated. Everybody gets fucking frustrated in these games. Will you feel rewarded in the end? 99% of the people I would that sees this, I would say, hell yeah, you'll feel rewarded in the end once you beat the boss. You'll have this sense of relief come over and this sense of gratification, and you might want to throw your controller or break your keyboard over your head in the process. But in the end, it feels so good. But yeah, that's about it with this one. I will talk to you guys later.